Login accepted.
Before I get in, some announcements. First of all, who am I? Alexander Ing. I'm one of the competitions officers here at Swift. I'm a fourth year computer science major, and that's my handle right there, Sandwich Man. So some announcements. Tech Symposium is coming up, I believe this Saturday, right? Yeah, it's a good opportunity to go. It's free. It's good. It's a student-led cybersecurity conference. It's a good way to network with professionals. There'll be hands-on demos, workshops, that sort of thing. Really good opportunity overall. Next up, CIS Banquet is on April 19th, Sunday. Again, another good way to network, especially with other CIS students. There's good food, free food, I believe, too. And activities, there'll be some club associated awards as well. We'll make sure to RSVP soon, limited up to 80 people. So for get in, so we have the contents here. First, I'll go over some of the basics on DDoS attacks. I'll go over common types of attacks, and then I'll go over the software and tools that are used in executing, defending, and monitoring DDoS attacks. So first of all, what are the basics? What are DDoS attacks? Distributed denial of service attacks are malicious cyber attacks that seek to overwhelm a server, website, or network with flood of internet traffic, disrupting the accessibility of the target. Depends on the fact that servers have a limit to how many requests or connections it can have. Once it reaches that limit, it won't be able to take any new requests and will shut down, thus denying service. Common attacks are organizations, business websites, and online gaming platforms. So how do you identify DDoS attacks? Some common identifiers: sudden lag spikes, high amount of internet traffic, online service becomes slow or unavailable, and the server completely crashes. Well, let's just say you do get hit with a DDoS attack. What are the consequences of it? A couple things here. Let's say your company gets hit, damage to brand reputation. Customers won't be able to trust you as much. Loss of operation because your service gets shut down, and loss of revenue due to downtime costs, remediation costs. And let's just say you're the attacker as a potential as another attack on top of the DDoS attack that also can cause potential ransom costs as well. Now, before I get on to the next section, just a brief description of how websites and servers generally work. First, the user sends a request to the server. It's usually in the form of HTTP requests. And what this does is that this opens the connection between the server and the client. Let's say you want to access like a web page or an image, stuff like that. You'd send an HTTP request to the server. And then the server will receive the request, process it, and then send a response to the client, pulling up the video, pulling up the image, whatever. And then the browser displays the content. And then right after completing the request, the connection will close. Now, common types of attacks. We'll go over the three most common types which are volumetric attacks, protocol attacks, and application layer attacks. So application layer attacks are attempts to exhaust the resources of a website. This involves mainly sending a flood of HTTP requests to the website. Obviously, this targets the application layer, and over time, the server will send back errors because it can't handle all the HTTP requests. Some types of attacks: HTTP floods, API abuse, and SOLORs, which we'll get into a little bit later. Protocol attacks target specific weaknesses in a website or server and seeks to exploit them. It targets network protocols. Some examples are TCP, ICMP, UDP, etc., which are in the network and transport layer. These requests are incomplete or broken, making them difficult to process. Protocol attacks also don't require that big of a large system of computers, making them one of the more cost-effective ways to cause a DDoS attack. Some types of attacks have SYN flood attacks, ping of death, and IPsec floods. Third one we'll go over are volumetric attacks. A volumetric attack is simply just overwhelming a server with enormous amounts of traffic until it fails. This is conducted with a botnet. Botnets are a network of computers, IoT devices, and other machines that are infected with malware, which allow an attacker to control them remotely. This allows an attacker to issue commands through various bots, which the attacker can use to send dozens of requests to a targeted server from said compromised devices. Again, this is the most common type of DDoS attack you'll encounter. So some types of attacks, we have UDP floods, DNS reflection floods, and NTP amplification attacks. It's also one thing to note that some of these do overlap. UDP floods also do count under protocol attacks. So one thing to keep in mind. Next, we'll go over the software and tools that are used in attacks, defense, and detection. So some common DDoS attack tools you might encounter are low orbit ion cannon, Hulk, Solaris, and a little bit more of a recent one, Mega Medusa. Just some examples here. So low orbit ion cannon is an open source DDoS tool, often used for stress testing. Although it can be used for stress testing, it can and has been used for malicious reasons. It can be used for TCP floods, UDP floods, and HTTP floods. Next, we've got Hulk. Hulk is the HTTP, it stands for HTTP Unbearable Load King. Hulk was created as a web server DDoS pen testing tool, and its purpose is to launch more real attacks to test the efficiency of a server. The whole process behind it is to generate a number of unique requests at irregular intervals, which helps prevent the network's defenses from guessing the attack pattern, and also makes traffic generated from Hulk tough to filter. Solaris is a tool that's used to perform what's called a slow HTTP DDoS attack. Well, instead of flooding the server with loads of HTTP requests, it will instead exhaust the web server's maximum amount of concurrent connections. It causes what's called a low and slow DDoS attack that mimics regular traffic and makes it hard to detect. What it does is that it will send a slow stream of partial HTTP requests, which will never be completed. So what that does is that it will keep the connection between the client and server open. And after the whole goal of Solaris is to maintain as many connections as possible until the server is completely filled with connections, and it won't be able to accept any new connections, which means it won't be able to accept any new requests, thus causing a denial of service. Mega Medusa, this is more of a recent tool that's appeared. It's used in application layer attacks, and it can bypass detection and defense mechanisms. Mega Medusa mainly makes use of open proxies, which act as intermediaries that establish connections between the client and server. Now, proxies kind of act as a middleman between the client and server, and it's used to enhance security of the client, usually by hiding the IP address. What this does for Mega Medusa is conceal the origin of the connection and also bypass some detection mechanisms. It is one thing to note that Mega Medusa does rely heavily on open proxies. Without it, it's not really as dangerous. Now, before I move on to the defense software, it is one thing to note that DDoS protection is usually expected by most cyber defense software and is provided by most. And I mean, even some software that isn't specifically designed for cyber defense has capabilities and configurations that do allow it to mitigate DDoS attacks. So some types of software with tools for DDoS attacks include web application firewalls, cloud mitigation services, load balancers, and some server software also has tools to help defend against DDoS attacks. Usually, defense against DDoS attacks involve limiting traffic, tracking client behavior, and filtering. So some examples of software used in DDoS protection. We'll go over Cloudflare, Nginx, and HA proxy. Cloudflare offers DDoS protection in the form of cloud-based mitigation services and web application firewalls for both websites and servers. Does this through filtering and blocking malicious traffic. If an attacker tries to take down your website, their traffic will go to Cloudflare machines instead of being sent to your server. The Cloudflare network works as a filter and rate limiter to prevent malicious traffic from entering your server. That is on the cloud-based mitigation side. Cloudflare web application firewalls give the user a little bit more control, allow them to define rules and policies for your server in order to restrict traffic. Nginx, that is mainly server software, but it does have a lot of configuration directives that allow it to filter malicious traffic. And there's a lot of directives, but here's some examples here. The limit requirements module that allows Nginx to restrict the number of requests per second coming from a particular IP address. Client body timeout, client header timeout, and keep alive timeout also helps defend against slower attacks like Solaris by closing idle or slow connections quickly. And client max body size limits the size of incoming attacks, preventing possible exhaustion of resources. And of course, there are a lot more configuration directives other than just these. HA proxy is a load balancer, and it is widely used. Well, load balancers are widely used for distributing traffic between different servers, hence balancing traffic. And HA proxy, it uses access control lists, ACLs, to define rules and filtering traffic. It can provide geo-IP blocking, which restricts traffic based on the physical location of the device connecting. And it also blocks any malicious IPs. It can also further inspect HTTP requests to determine whether traffic is malicious or not. Now, just like the cyber defense software, common tools used to detect DDoS attacks are most of them aren't used to specifically detect DDoS attacks, but they are used to monitor the network for any malicious activity. But they are very good at detecting DDoS attacks. Some examples we'll go over are NTOP-NG, Wireshark, Fastnet, and Fastnet-Long. So NTOP-NG is a net flow analyzer that provides traffic monitoring and analysis of traffic patterns. NetFlow analyzers are known for analyzing traffic in real time and visualizing traffic data on a web interface. As you can see over here, this is how NTOP-NG, that's how the interface would look. NTOP-NG in particular is a NetFlow analyzer that more focuses on deep analysis and doing things like, it provides insight on bandwidth usage, provides comprehensive network monitoring, and it helps identify even specific applications that are used in connecting to the server. Another one here, I'm sure a good amount of you have probably used this before. That is Wireshark. It is an open source network protocol analyzer, and network protocol analyzers are mainly used to capture, decode, and analyze traffic as packets, which can be inspected further for more details. Wireshark can identify malicious behavior, it analyzes protocols, and using its taskbar, it can isolate specific traffic that you want to look at. So yeah. next that I'll talk about is FastNetMon. It is a DDoS detection tool that is known for quick detections. It is, instead of deep analysis like NTOP-NG, it is, well, fast and it specializes in quick detections. So it focuses on identifying anomalies quickly. It is particularly adept in identifying and blocking volumetric attacks, and it can automatically trigger mitigation to block traffic. And finally, we'll go over how DDoS attack, how it would look to if you were to get hit with a DDoS attack, and how that would look in Wireshark with this video. Oh. There we go. So we have here, as you see, that is the script I'm running to simulate a attack on my computer. And as you see here, any of the traffic that is marked in red or black, that signifies malicious traffic, basically. As you see, there's a flood of it that's coming in. And then I think you can see here, you can see a lot of traffic up here that is coming into the machine. And if you further inspect the packets, you see it says incomplete there, which that shows, it's won't be completed, I don't believe. And there we go. Does anyone have any questions?
Sorry, what did you mean by like incomplete?
Like, what that means is basically, since it's incomplete, it can't really be, the server, it will have a tough time processing it, basically. Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, this is something that you simulated yourself.
Yeah.
You just use Linux terminal, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I just used a virtual machine to simulate it. Yeah.
Having a port issue, there's a lot of ports and it's trying to find a port. I have no knowledge about cybersecurity.
What the script is doing is basically it's flooding a particular port. I believe it's port 80, yeah. So that, just flooding the open port, and then you can see here it just floods in.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any more questions? All right. That is my presentation. Thank you for tuning.